Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we successfully design our ad page, right? That means the ad assign subject page. So right now from here you can select all that your classes, and also you can able to select all that your subject, the mark and the pass mark and the subjective, right? And also you can able to add that multiple one, so you can add that multiple subject as per your demand. So right now I want to insert this data. So if you want to insert this data, that is in our ad page. Now go to our ad, into the ad page, that is actually our form, right? So they have also one of the form as a submit form, and into the submit form that is actually started from here. So I want to name it as a store assign subject. Okay, assign and then subject. So that will be as a store assign subject. So now we have to create this store assign subject. Better I copy it. So that will be our route. Now go to our web route. So I will customize it right now from here. That will be as obviously one of the post method. So our name will be as a store assign subject, and I want to replace it. That will be as a assign and then subject. And then in our assign subject controller, I want to create one of the method. I just name that method. It will be as a assign, that means the store assign subject. Okay, so this type of one of the method I want to create. So as I told you, it will be just like our free amount. So into the free amount we did the same things. Better I simply copy total method. I copy total method, and now in our assign subject controller, after this I paste it. Okay, so here I simply paste it. Better I put that things on here. So of our method will be now as a store assign subject. I copy it and then I updated that method. That will be as a store assign subject, and also there is a post method. For the reasons it will be as a request and the request, right? And our counter class. So right now here it will be as our subject, right? Because of all here we have to get that all data by this subject. So that is actually all that subject, and if you go, so that is our subject ID, right? So now I want to take it. So I name one of the variable. I just name it as a subject. Okay, subject count. So this type of one of the variable I simply take, and then in a count our requested ID, field name for the subject I want to take. That is actually our name is a class ID, and that is our subject ID, and also that is actually multiple. So that will be our subject ID. I copy it, and then I updated that part as a subject ID, right? So it will be check it, and then I take it. If there's not null, that means if this not null, then there is actually our for condition for it. So I have already discussed about that main functionality, why I'm actually using this count, right? First of all, with this we will check it. That means you cannot able to just only insert that class. That means the class name. If you actually remove every field, okay, if you remove every field, without this you cannot able to use it. So for the reasons here, there is actually our count, and if it's not null, then it will be save this data in our count, and then that will be as a subject count, and into the subject count, then our for loop, into the for loop area, every data it should be get, and then that will be our, I name that, change it as a assign subject. Okay, assign and underscore subject. So that will be as a assigned subject. So now I want to update this part that will be needed, and also with this assigned subject I want to save it. So that will be subject, and then our model name. So I have already loaded our models as a assigned subject model. So into this assigned subject model I create one of the object. So that is our object I have created, and then with this assigned subject our database field name. Now I want to insert. Now I want to insert that as a class ID, right? So that will be the class ID. And also our requested field name. I also name it as a class ID, right? So that will be as a class ID. Perfect. And that is our single one, and rest of this will be actually multiple. So after that, there is our another one as a subject ID. I copy it, and that will be as a, with this subject I want to access our database field, and that our requested field. Sorry, not this one, as a subject ID, and then our requested field for this one as a subject ID, and that is actually multiple, right? So here we have to pass this data. So I simply add this. So that will be our subject ID. Perfect. And after that, there is our another one as a full mark. I copy it. So that will be as a full mark, and also our requested field name as a same, maybe because of all I actually always use the same name, right? That is our full mark. So that is our full mark. Perfect. And also they have the another rest of this field. There is a two field we have to add. One will be as a pass mark. I copy it, and that will be the pass mark. And then here I name it as a pass mark, right? Our requested field name, and that is also the multiple one. And then our last one will be as a subjective mark. I copy it. So that will be as a subjective mark, and in the request, our field name, our request field name also as a subjective mark. So perfect. We have to update all that our data. Everything I hope is very much clear to you, right? And after that, with this assign subject, I want to save this data. Perfect. That is our and for each. That is our and if condition. There is a notification. It should be display as a subject assigned. Subject. Okay, assigned inserted successfully. How much easy it is? You can see, friend, I have already completed that part. So right now it's not be hard for you. So everything will be just like that same. So it will be show some of the notification as a subject assigned inserted successful, and then the return redirect to our view page. Our view page I have already created as a assigned subject view, right? So it will be return redirect to particular this page. So it will be simple. It will be return redirect to our this route. Okay, friend, and that is our and method. You can see I have already actually used that all node, and node is very much helpful. So for the reasons here, I have actually share everything. So now, friend, that's all. Now it should be inserted all that our data. So now let's check this out. If you now click on the save all, and now go there, click on the refresh. So that is our first assigned data, right? So if you go to that assigned subjects, right now there have no data. There is totally empty. Now if you click as the add assigned subject, and into the add assigned subject, I want to select as a class 1. For the class 1, I name it as a health. Better I add multiple one. I add that as a health, English, and the Hindi, and then mathematics. Okay. I assign all that field. You can also add rest of every data, that is arts. So for the class 1, I name it as a health. Health will be 100 marks, pass mark as a 33, and make it as a subjective marks as a 100. And the same data I want to insert. So if you want to change any data, like for the subject Hindi, I make it as a 30, and then 100, 33, 100, and 33, and the 100. Perfect. So that's the all that our subject I assigned for our class 1. Okay, so that means for the class 1 I assign all that subject, and there is a full mark, pass mark, and the subjective mark. So if everything okay, now it should be inserted this data. Now if you click as a submit, yes, you can see it's now successfully insert this data. That is a subject assigned inserted successfully, right? And you can see it's now display all that our class name. Because of all, if you now go to our database, now click as a browse, you can see there is all that our class ID. So in our view page, I have already display our class ID. That means if you go to that view page, into the view page, I have display, you can see there is a class ID. So laterally we have to actually load it by the group by, right? So group by we have to add it. So I will do that things later. So right now our store method is successfully working. So now I want to insert another one. Go to our add assigned subject. So that is actually for our class 1. And now for the class 2, I also want to add some of the data. Like that will be as a health, that will be as a English, that will be as a English, Hindi, and then mathematics, and then the arts. Okay, so right now we don't need this. Perfect. Our mark will be same. I just put that here. 100 pass mark and the subjective marks. So 100 pass mark and then subjective marks. Okay, so that's all. Now click as that will be for our class 2. Click as a submit. Our assigned subject, everything is data successfully done. That is our 2ID data. Perfect. So now I want to add another one better. That will be for our class 3. And here I want to add multiple one. That will be class 3 as a health, English, Hindi, mathematics, and then art. Okay, and that will be also same. I insert some of the data. So data will be actually needed. So for the reasons better I use it. 133, this one. I insert some of the data. Okay, so here I insert some of the data. Perfect. Now click the submit. That will be for our class 3. Our subject assigned inserted successful. Also I want to add another one, class 4. Okay, so actually it's data inserted. Okay, so that is actually class 4. I health, English, Hindi, mathematics, and then the arts. Okay, then arts, 100. I take this as much as I fast can do. Okay, so that will be all that our data. Perfect. So friend, now I insert all that our assign all that our classes for this subject. Now click the submit. Yeah, everything is now inserted. Everything is great, and now every data actually visible by this ID. That means that all that our class ID. So here I want to display this not like that way. Here it should be display with the group by, right? So if you want to display this as a group by in our previous account, that means the free account amount, I have already discussed about that things with you. So I want to display it. So if you now go to our view method, into the view method, here you can see I have already created this part. Right now I want to open it, and better for your references, right now I make it as a comment out, and here I make it as open. Okay, so that will be our model. So with this model I select our which data I want to select our here it will display all that our category ID, right? That means, sorry, that's the class ID. So that will be our class ID. I name it as a class underscore ID. So this is the class ID data I want to group, right? So that is our class ID data, and then I want to group by our this class ID, right? And then I get all the data, and after that will be same system that will be actually assign everything in our this view page, right? So now it's perfect. So here I take all the data with the group by. So, and also here I want to display our this category class ID means what? This class ID will be matched with our this student class this ID. When it will be matched, then it will be display this name. That means okay, that is actually our student class name. If you click on the browse, I have already inserted 2 of this. You can see there is a class 4, that is 5. I hope it's very much clear to you, friends. So that is one of the foreign key. So in our assigned subject, into the assigned subject table, there is one of the field as a class ID. So this class ID will be matched with our this student class this ID. When it will be matched, then I want to get this name. So this is the name I want to visible on here, not this. Okay, and also I have already get this as a with the class ID. So that is actually assigned subject. So better I open it. Okay, so that is actually our model. That means I have already created one of the model as a assigned subject model. So into this model area, if you go to our model, I have already did that work, same work in our free category amount. You can see there is a free category amount, so that will be same. I copy it. Okay, I copy it, and then that means here I want to belongs to our student class model. So that will be same in our assign. Here I paste it. Okay. So right now we don't need this. So I take that one of the method as a student class, and then return with the belongs to in our student class. So that is our assigned subject. So with this assigned subject, it should be belongs to our this student class, and here it should be matched with this ID, right? So this ID name as a class ID. So that will be as a class ID, and this class ID will be matched with our this student class ID. When it will be matched, then we will get this data. So now with this student class I want to visible it. So now go to our view, into the view, that is our assign, right? So now I hope you already know what exactly the things you have to do. So I name it our method name, into the class name, and also here it will be display our field name in our student class as a name, right? If you go there, you can see that is actually the field name as a name. So now I want to visible that name. Perfect. And also I get pass it every data with the group by. So now it should be visible all that group by data. Click as a save all, and now if you go your site, now click as a refresh. Yes, you can see it's now perfectly getting all that our group by data, and now it's visible our name because I have already created that relation, right? That is a class 1, class 2, class 3, and the class 4. Perfect. So now we have to do work for our edit. So as I told you, edit will be just like that same. So better I want to continue this process. In our next video, I will complete our this edit portion. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.